Hello and welcome everyone, it's me, TheLaval, also known as the Power Tool Duelist, back for you with another deck profile related to Morphtronics, and today I'll be talking about a different variant. Today it's probably the most popular Morphtronic variant out of all three main ones, with the Equip and OTK variant that I am currently running, and the main deck focused OTK. But as mentioned, this is the most popular one. This is Synchro Spam, as you can see, shooting Quasar peeking out at the side there. And I'll just give you a quick rundown and an idea of what Synchro Spam Morphtronics are supposed to do. Later, when talking about the extra deck, I'll provide some different choices you can make when coming to that. But I'd say let's get into the main deck first and see how much synchros Morphtronics can actually spam. And starting off the main deck is with the equip-focused one is Morphtronics Stealthon. I'm at a loss for words for this card because it's absolutely amazing. Just in attack position, roll a 6-sided die, reveal cards equal to the die roll, special summon any level 4 lore Morphtronic ignoring summoning conditions. Great effect, your main machine dupe target, you open this in machine dupe, make Quasar and 2 or 3 other synchros. It's just amazing. It gets you started on so many plays. It's a 1-for-1 target, amazing card, and I don't think we will see a day where Stealthon will not be the best main deck Morphtronic. So there is that. Next up, 3 Morphtronic Smartphone. Smartphone is great in general because not only can you special summon him from your hand by banishing a Morphtronic from your graveyard, which nets you an extra body and a level 1 tuner at that. He also gives you access to many handy synchros like Naturia Beast and this such. Also, when he's in attack mode, roll a 6-sided die, reveal cards equal to the die roll, and then pick up a Morphtronic card between those, which gives you access to not only an extender and repair unit, but also just generates you resources and monsters you want to have in hand. So Smartphone is just great for that. Also, he makes Formula Synchron with Stealthon, so that is great as well. Next up, Morphtronic Scopen. As mentioned in the Equip and OTK build that I am currently running, main thing I use Scopen for in that build is just the attack position effect. That would be summoning a Morphtronic, which is level 4 from your hand, but it gets destroyed during the end phase. In this variant, you actually have a lot of scenarios in which you want to summon Scopen in defense, so it's level 4. Because summoning Scopen off Stealthon in defense instantly nets you Hyper Librarian or Shiranui Sword Saga or just any of your low-level synchros. So he is great for that because he just gives you that opportunity to either make him a level 3, either go into a level 7 or use that Stealthon as mentioned to go into Hester. But also having the opportunity to summon him in defense and go for Librarian, which you want to do as early as possible in your combo because you want to get that advantage. Next up, still 3 Morphtronic Remoten. Great card, second machine dupe target you can run in the main deck. Banish a Morphtronic from grave, add a Morphtronic with the same level to your hand. Great card in general. So level 3 tuner as well. So it's amazing. Just run 3. I wouldn't see a reason for less. Next up, going into your non-tuners, we have 3 Staplen. He's just great. You can set him, he tanks 2 hits. Also, when you have 2 in attack on the field, you can softlock your opponent out of attacks. One of the better main deck Morphtronics, I think. So definitely a 3 off there. Then your next non-tuner being Morphtronic Boomboxen. Boomboxen, another great level 4 the deck offers. I think it's a bit better in the equip-based variant. I cut down on Videon for this build. Just because I think Videon performs better in a equip-focused build. And I did not include many synchro monsters that need lights, and the synchro monsters that need specific non-tuners mostly need earth. So I just run 6 earth non-tuners in this deck, which during testing hasn't failed me as much as you want to believe, but I still think Boomboxen is great, just being able to negate an attack while in defense and swing twice while in attack can net you a bit more damage on board. But as I mentioned, the thing which makes Boomboxen stand out for me is just the fact that it's an Earth level 4, and I like it for that. So, next up, probably a quite hilarious inclusion would be a playset of Morphtronic Vacuuman. Machine duping this, sucking 2 monsters because you normal summoned 1, machine dupe the others, letting you suck 2 monsters, bait negates, and all that. Combos well with Wear Off though, because summon him, Wear Off though, search cell phone, and anything, or even smartphone for that matter. So I do play a playset of him. We will get to Wear Off though when the opportunity arises, but great card in general. I started citing him since I got the full playset a few weeks ago. I started citing him on my current equipment OTK list. Probably won't update that deck until I make some major changes, or some major changes happen to it. But in this variant, I run 3. Great card, sucks up your opponent's monsters, as mentioned, and is your 3rd machine dupe target. Talking about machine dupe, there's your playset. You want to see this as much as possible. Opens up full combo with Saphon. Opens up a lot of playability with Remoten. And when you machine dupe Vacuuman, you do get a good amount of board clearing out of it. And also, you can work with Wear Off though from there. And you get some buddies for links, which is also great. So machine dupe is definitely a 3-of. Then going into one of the cards I talked about in last month's Morphtronics Monthly, we have a playset of Diced Dice. I do run this in this variant because I like the possibility, which is the disclaimer I have to put out. It's a possibility to search Saphon with this. But I like the idea of essentially having 3 extra copies of Saphon in the main deck, and also dropping this during your combo to maybe fetch a smartphone from deck is just great. But if you are not a gambler like me and think that this is too gimmicky and all that, you can definitely run this instead. I run 1 in this list, but as mentioned, where did I put that? Here. You can definitely look into making a playset out of Wear Off though, but I just prefer Diced Dice because I think it's a cool card in general and I like the concept. And sometimes you need to take chances. Then, as mentioned, 1 Wear Off though, you can bump this up, varying ratios. Maybe you want to run 3 Wear Off though instead of the 1, but I prefer Diced Dice as mentioned. Just getting that search without setup for Saphon, really cool. But searching Saphon in your combo with this can also be neat. But I think the target you are most looking for with Wear Off though is probably smartphone. Then just 3 junk box. Reviving Saphon during your combo. That's what this is used for. It's the same in the equipment OTK variant. I don't need to tell you how good an archetype a Monster Reborn is. If this would have Morphtronic in its name, it would probably be 10 times better because you could fetch it off smartphone. But as it stands, Junkbox is still an amazing card, and just reviving any level 4 lore Morphtronic from your grave is great. And it also nets you Synchro material. Next up, we have the first of your equip spells. 3 Morphtronic Reaper unit, as mentioned again. Great extender, discard a Morphtronic, target a Morphtronic in your grave, special summon that. Great interaction is that you have to pay the cost before targeting the monster that you want to summon, so you can discard a Saphon from hand if you already have a Morphtronic engrave, and then target the Saphon that you just discarded to grab it instantly back, which is a great interaction. And yeah, great thing about this, searchable by Power Tool Dragon, so I run a 3-of. Next up, something that I did not include in my equipment OTK list, DDR, Different Dimension Return. Just a great card. Discard 1, target 1 of your banished monsters, special summon it in attack. It's essentially the same deal as with Reaper unit, only that this is not locked to Morphtronics. And the best thing about this as well is it's an equip spell, so my boy can search it. Next up, power 1 of spells, Foolish Burial, great graveyard setup, get out Saphon, resummon it, machine dupe, go for a combo. It's great. 1 for 1. 4th copy of Saphon in the deck with the Diced Dice. That's 7 copies, so great card. Monster Reborn, just another extender. You can also include World Legacy Succession. I've seen lists running that, but I don't run it because I don't have it. But yeah, that would be the main deck. Now going into the extra deck, and it wouldn't be an extra deck for me if it did not start up with 3 power to Dragon. Of course, this is Synchro Spam Morphtronics. You can swap out 2 or 1 or none for any Synchro monster you like, but I run 3 because this is my favorite card. I love it to death. Just being able to once per turn reveal 3 equip spells, get 1 added to your hand, makes you able to search repair units, search DDR in this variant, and in my equip list lets you bump him up to quite a lot of attack points. Second effect, that he can protect himself by discarding equip spells instead. Doesn't come up as much in this variant because none of the equip spells really equip to him, is because you don't have a way to banish him really. But he's still a great inclusion. Most Synchro spam lists work with 1. Some even run 2, but 3 is just me. So yeah, still love him. He's the best. Run him at 3. Next up, his evolved form, Livestream Dragon. If this, okay, quick rant. If this had its anime effect, this would be an automatic inclusion in the list. But I just run it because it's Power 2 Dragon's evolved form, and I do think Livestream Dragon is a very cool card. Because the anime effect would make it so that you can target all other Synchro monsters you control and switch their levels to either 1 or 2. The printed version of it does not have that effect, so it does not enable you to make Quasar Dragon as easy as you might want to. Still a great card if you run Cryston, Haki Fibrex, or Needle Fiber for short. This would be something you can definitely summon off Needle Fiber's effect because this is a Synchro tuner after all. But I don't run Haki Fibrex in this because I don't have the space and I do not have the money to get a $30 card, which will probably get hit in the future. So there is that. And then your shining boss monster to end it all, shooting Quasar Dragon. If you don't know what this card does, you must have slept through something. You take a tuner Synchro monster into a non-tuner Synchro monster, make this level 12 4K buddy. He can attack a maximum number of times up to the number of non-tuners, so he can make at least 2 attacks per battle phase with 4K. That's a lot of damage. Once per turn, during either player's turn, he's an Omni Negate. And when he leaves the field, you can special summon 1 Shooting Star Dragon from your extra deck. I did not include Shooting Star Dragon actually, but if you want to, you can definitely include Shooting Star Dragon in the extra deck. I just did not find the space for it. Could probably cut the Levier. But yeah, just him being able to not only be a 4K buddy, be an Omni Negate, and if you run the target for it, just floating into a 3300 buddy is just amazing. If you want to, you can definitely substitute him by Cosmic Laserdragon, because I think he even stops attacks and summons. So he's a bit better going first, but he's better going second, and I think he's just more iconic, so I do run him instead. Next up, 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Talked about this card a lot in the past videos talking about Morphtronics. The deck easily makes this. Great monster negate. He's tough to get over. So why not run him? Next up, a shiny boy in the form of Stardust Charge Warrior. Level 6 Synchro. You can make this with Formula Synchron and any of your level 4s. Draws you another card during your combo. Is another Synchro monster you can make to generate more advantage with Hyper Librarian. He's cool. Then Naturia Beast, locking your opponent out of spells is quite toxic if I say so myself. The deck has the option to summon beasts, so why not run it? Because many decks nowadays rely on spells, and if you make this going first, a lot of decks will find it hard to play. So yeah, it's great. Next up, as mentioned, TG Hyper Librarian, currently at 1. Draw a card when you Synchro summon. This is not once per turn. Spot the mistake. Yeah. If I think if some meta deck could abuse this card, it will probably go to 0 real quick, but as it stands, Hyper Librarian is just something that most Synchro Spam decks try to abuse if they can. Morphtronics has easy access to it because, as mentioned, Scopeman Defense and Cellphone make this. Also, Smartphone at a level 4 are able to make this. And you make him as your first Synchro in your combo, and after that, you just draw a card each time you Synchro summon, which just nets you all the extenders, all the extra materials you need to continue playing, which is great. Then a tech card I saw in a profile online that I'll probably leave a link to and talk a bit more about in the Morphtronics monthly. Shiranui Sword Saga. Level 5 Synchro monster. It's generic. If it gets Synchro summoned, which is the part that is interesting for Morphtronics about this, you can change the battle position of a face-up monster, which of course interacts great with a deck that has effects centered around battle position. Because it essentially gives you the option to just per Synchro summon, switch your Morphtronics to defense or attack, depending on how you summon them, and maybe get a second effect off, which is something that I hope the new support fixes, because that would be very cool, just having a deck which can use 2 effects per turn. But that is just me dreaming, and Shiranui Sword Saga just gives you a bit of that taste. Just essentially, if you have Smartphone would probably be a better example for this. You use Smartphone's attack position effect, make him switch Smartphone to attack, and you're able to stack your deck, so you maybe draw a better card of Librarian on your next Synchro summon. Just an example for what you can do with Sword Saga. Great card. Definitely a worthwhile inclusion, and I'll probably link the profile down below. Then, still in the main deck is Old Entity Hastor. Just a generic level 4, still quite the funny effect. With him being removed, he equips to an opponent's monster and negates that monster's effects, and if he then gets removed from the field, you can steal that monster. Great card, funny effect, I like him a lot, so I do run him, because alongside Formula and Stardust Charge Warrior, he enables your second way to make Shooting Quasar Dragon. Talking about it, Formula Synchron, your go-to Synchro tuner for making Shooting Quasar. On Synchro Summon, draw a card, level 2, so you do make this very easy with Smartphone and Cell Phone. Yeah, great card. Then still one Levier. This is probably something you could swap out. I just like the play of being able to go into him after machine duping Remoten and searching out and summoning, and after you banish something of Remoten's attack position effect, just summoning that banished monster again with Levier. I like the play. But yeah, personal preference. I think he's still worthwhile to have here, so you can definitely think about him. Then one Platinum Gadget, as mentioned. Make this with 2 machines. Lets you special summon a machine to a zone he points to. Great card. Does not allow link climbing, so you kind of sit on him if you make him. But mostly you're trying to make as many negates as possible, because this is a more going first focused build, I would say. But you can definitely include different synchros to fit your playstyle there. But yeah, he's still cool, just makes you able to get another body on board. And then capping off the extra deck is the Linko Rebo. Great card, you have a lot of level 1s, so you easily make him. And just being able to intercept an attack makes him really valuable, so I do run 1. Then quickly going over some Synchro monsters you can include as well in your build. You can of course still run the FA Dawn Dragster, level 7, spell or trap negate once per turn. You could probably cut a power to a dragon for this, but I chose not to. Naturia Beast, still great card. If you play against trap heavy matchups, he just does what Beast does against spells. He does it for traps, so the deck still kinda can make him, because you do run a lot of earths. So just locking your opponent out of traps is kind of neat. If you want to go more going second heavy, which is what I do in my equipment OTK list, you can run Bryoneck. This can also make Bryoneck, so why not run him? Armory Arm, more of a debatable inclusion, still a level 4 Synchro that you can use for your Quasar. Probably better in the equip list, but you can still run it in here. And then capping the thing off, just more links. I just have the borrow load here because I switched my equipment OTK list around for this. Probably can include more links, but I just like the Synchro heavy extra deck a lot because it's my favorite summoning mechanic. And I think it fits this Synchro spam variant more and gives it a bit more of a toolbox feel. So it's probably something you can do by preference. But yeah, with those inclusions out of the way, I think we're done here. So this has been my take on Synchro spam Morphtronics. Just by playtesting this, it's a good list, so don't get me wrong. If you do open full combo, you go full combo, and you still have a lot of ways to go off just in different ways. But sometimes you do brick very hard. It's still as inconsistent as any normal Morphtronic build, and it's still as frail as any normal Morphtronic build because you have 2 or 3 key cards during your combo. If that gets negated, you got a problem. But just going into this full Synchro combo, always drawing cards off Librarian, it does feel partially good and also kind of cheesy because you are doing all of these plays and your opponent's just sitting there and being like, you could have gone for games 2 minutes ago, but you're still extending your combos. So it worked well during testing. Not my favorite build, as you can probably tell, because I had the profile for the equip list up first. And I am a valiant defender of Power Tool Dragon because he is just such a great card. But definitely understandable that this is the most popular / most competitive variant of the deck. And I do see the reason why a lot of people run this, but it's just not for me. I just like the more casual appeal of the equipment OTK builds. So before I ramble on too long, I just cut it and say, this has been it for this video. I will thank you guys very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.